Bonjour, my name is David DeVere. I'm a wine educator and traveler, and you're watching Savvy Nomad TV. This is day 14 of the Costco Wine Advent Box. Day 13 was a very nicely presented generic Tempranillo from Spain. I may be a little bit partial. I like Spanish wine. I like Tempranillos. I think they're good. Let's see what 14 is. It's down here in the bottom. Hopefully the camera can see that. Oh, it's a red label again. Is it going to be another red one? It is. This is a Merlot from the Languedoc. Okay, if we look at our bottle, it says Pays d'Oc on it. And I said Languedoc, so let's explain the confusion. Let me show you the bottle. Perfect match. And it says France Pays d'Oc. What does Pays d'Oc mean? It means Pays is countryside, de of Oc. Oh, well, where is that? It's in the south of France, in an area that's actually known as the Languedoc, which stands for the language of the ox. They speak Occitan in the Languedoc. Now, who were the original ox? I'm not exactly sure. Probably the Romans gave them that name. Most likely Gallic tribes that lived in this area on the edge of the Mediterranean that extends from the Pyrenees up around the coast and into the countryside. This is a beautiful rural part of France. It is exquisitely gorgeous there with small trees and wine regions. The wine is generally bulk in nature. It's not particularly good. Now, you might be thinking, why does he know so much about this part of France if it's rural and not well known? Well, it is well known for the Canal du Midi. This was a canal built by Pierre-Paul Riquet, who is from Béziers, which is one of the bigger cities in the Languedoc. And he petitioned Louis XIV, and he said, look, Louis, I got this idea. If we go from the Mediterranean to the Atlantic, we can cut across the country and we don't have to go all the way around all that stormy weather that Spain has. We don't have to go through that little narrow gap called Gibraltar. Let's just skip that. Let's dig a canal. And Louis thought, sure, you pay for it and I'll allow you to have a hereditary title. So in the late 1600s, Pierre-Paul Riquet did build a canal, and that canal is now the Canal du Midi. It's a marvel of engineering, and it was the first canal boat trip I ever took in France. Changed my life. It was fantastic. Along the Canal du Midi, in a little town, not very far from Béziers, maybe a 3-day cruise from Béziers, you find the town of Ventenac. The town of Ventenac was given to a Roman soldier because Caesar's 10th Legion was settled in this part of France, and his name was Ventenatus. Ventenatus made a chateau, and the town turned itself into Ventenac, and the canal goes right to it. I'll put a picture of the Chateau de Ventenac here. You can go into that chateau, which is the local cooperative, and you can buy bulk wine there. You have to bring your own bottle. You literally need water bottles and jugs, and they have what looks like a old fuel filler, like at the gas station, a fuel pump. And there's these massive oak barrels embedded into the side of the wall, and you say, I want a rosé, or I want a red, or I want a white. And they grab your bottle and they fill it up. It was, when I was there about 5 years ago, it was 1 liter for €1.30. So at that time, that was about $1.50. So for a liter of wine, it was. And they even said, this is not good wine. This is table wine. And we said, yes, we know. And it was really fun to buy local wine in Ventenac. The Languedoc is not known for their high quality wines. There are some regions. The town of Corbières is starting to make a name for itself, but these are table ready, food friendly, easy drinkers that shouldn't be taken too seriously. One of the best meals I ever had in France was in the town of Ventenac at a place where there was chickens walking around and the entire thing was covered by trees overhead. Nothing but a tree arbor, and we were not baking in the sun. We were sitting on a gravel courtyard under the trees eating a proper French three-course lunch. It took 2 hours. Wine was included. It cost 14 euros. It was fantastic. Okay, let's crack into our Pays d'Oc Merlot. Despite my affection for Ventenac, the Languedoc, France, and the Canal du Midi, I'm still going to grade this based on all the other Merlots out there. So, what should a good Merlot taste like? It should be deep, if not black in color. It should be fruit forward with blackberries, cherries, licorice, that sort of thing. It should be highish alcohol, and it should be just a tinge of sweetness from that alcohol. A good Merlots are tobacco, cedar box, and wet forest floor. This, not sure we're going to get any of that. But if we get some of it, I'll be excited. Okay, I've filled out the top of my tasting card. Obviously, you know where to get that in the description. Looking at the color, it's pretty black. They did the color right. It is, what is it going to be? It's going to be red and dark. Okay. Let's see what we get. Blackberries, maybe. A little bit of cedar. It's more fruitier than it is smokier. It's not very vegetable. It's more fruit. It's sweeter smelling than it is more unctuously aromatic. So, but I'm not getting a ton, but I'm getting a little. Maybe some currant. I'll give it a 7. It made my nose tickle. Okay, let's taste it. Actually, I do think there was a hint of sweetness there. Hint of sweet, but those tannins, those are giving me some grippiness. Don't confuse sweetness and tannins. That drying sensation in your mouth is not the absence of sweetness. It's actually the tannins attaching to your saliva. Okay, body is medium full. Acidity is smooth. I don't really notice it much. I'm not salivating very much. It's nicely done. I'm going to give it an 8. Balance. I'm going to taste it again so I can see if I get that hint of sweetness again. Yeah, it's a little bit sweet. I mean, it's just barely there. Okay, balance is good. No alcohol. The sugars are not overly pronounced. There's just a little bit of a sweet fruit flavor. The tannins are pretty good. I think it's nicely balanced. I'll give it a 9. Flavors and depth. This is complexity. Now, what did I get extra? Not a ton. It's a little bit watery in the finish, but it tastes pretty good. I'll give it a 7. And the finish and length, good finish. It added to the sensation. I think that's true. It's a long finish. The tannins are actually nice, soft or rounded here. They're aggressive, but they're rounded. They don't feel extremely big in my mouth. That's part of the finish here, but there's no extra lingering aroma, and the wine isn't particularly unctuous or really big and smooth and lovely and velvety. All that stuff would add to a 9 or a 10. I'll give it a 7. Okay, that was quick. I'm going to go do my math. All right, here are my final scores for our Pays d'Oc, our Languedoc Merlot. Aroma 7, acidity 8, balance 9, complexity 7, finish and length 7. For 38 points, add that to 50 and you've got 88 points. This is indicative of the style of wine that they make in the Languedoc. There is no prescribed style or grape variety. The Languedoc is known for bulk and cheap. That's the style they've been promoting for the last 50 or more years. They are trying to get a little more well known, and there are some communes or regions in the Languedoc that are making better quality wine. I mentioned Corbières earlier. Those wines may tip into the 90-point scale. Also, if you can find it, the Chateau de Parazza in the town of Parazza is making excellent wines, but they're not giving those away, and I've never seen them exported. But that doesn't mean they aren't. Maybe you can find one. Anyway, food-friendly, people-pleasing, and cheap. Less than $10 a bottle is what you should expect. If you've got a big party where you need a bunch of red wine, the Languedoc will supply. Don't think about it, just drink it. Okay, that's all I've got for you today. I'll see you tomorrow for day 15. If you've enjoyed this episode, please give me a thumbs up. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this Merlot, of this Languedoc, what your score is. And until tomorrow, I say à tout à l'heure and cheers.
Hello, Merlot. Rhymes with hello. I often think of Merlot as having a rainforesty smell, which I'm not smelling here. But it does smell good, fruity, kind of chocolatey, and or red wine goes good with chocolate. Okay, let me give it a taste. Pretty smooth. A little bit bitter on the aftertaste. Kind of goes away quick, maybe, but pretty good. Cheers.